Hey there, I'm glad you're here. My name is Chris, and this is the Seaver Shoots YouTube channel, where our focus is on fitness, firearms, and outdoor and adventure gear. Today, the piece of gear that we're talking about is a very versatile little pair of earbuds from Axil called the XCOR. These have been highly anticipated by me, and I'm very excited to present them to you. But before we do that, I want to talk about some affiliates. The first one is Lems Shoes. This is their Primal Pursuit mid-ankle waterproof. This is going to be your do everything outdoor shoe. I've been using it a lot in the last couple of weeks. It has become my go-to range shoe. I think it looks really good. It also feels fantastic, and it's got all the protections that I need while maintaining all those good barefoot qualities. It is zero drop, wide toe box, and it has a relatively flexible but still very protective and puncture proof sole, so it's perfect for the gun range. Lems has a whole bunch of different offerings on their website outside of just hiking minded shoes, so if you want to use the link down in the description to navigate over to their website, you can shop around and find what you need. The next brand I want to talk about that I have partnered with is a brand that is historic in barefoot shoes. It's considered the first barefoot shoe company, and that is Vibram with their 5 fingers. So this specific one is the V Trail, and as you can tell from its name, it's meant for hiking and trail running, and I will attest to its ability to keep up on the trail. I also use it for work, and I've used it a little bit out on the range. I wouldn't recommend it as a dedicated range shoe because I'm not sure how it stands up to the random trigger trash you might run across, like nails and screws and things like that. We're gonna do some more testing of it in those kinds of environments, and then we'll get back to you on if this could be used as a range shoe. But I really like it, and Vibram has a whole bunch of other options for running shoes, lifting shoes, even just casual shoes, if you want to try to get those toes separated and live a much more minimalistic and natural foot life. Head down to the link in the description, navigate over to the Vibram website, and shop around and look for some of the options that they have there for you. The last company I want to talk about makes paddle boards. They are called Freon. They also make paddle boards that double as kayaks, though, which is really nice if you're not quite comfortable enough to get up and standing on your paddle board. You can at least sit back in a chair and kayak around. There's a link down in the description. You can navigate over to their website and shop around. They are very affordable compared to other paddleboard companies, which is really nice. And you can use Sons of Seaver as a discount code at checkout to save yourself 10%. Now let's get into the video. Again, the Axil XCOR Earbuds. We are also an affiliate of Axil. So if you like what you're hearing during this video, then head down to the link in the description and you can use Seaver Shoots for 15% off at checkout. But they're almost always doing a sale. I know right now while I'm filming this, they're doing 50% off. So you can get any of the offerings that I talk about here for way less than they usually retail for. The reason why I'm going to talk about some other offerings is because there has been a little bit of an evolution that I have lived through when it comes to Axil earbuds. So the first pair that I ever got were their GS Extreme 1.0s. Very nice, very light, very low profile. I don't like muffs because they have the potential to get knocked off your ear when you're cheek welding to your shouldering device. So these are nice. They go behind you and they hook around your ears, and then you can tuck the little tail in so that it doesn't become too much of a snag hazard. And now I've got great hearing protection. These are all going to be rated 29 dB SNR, so their decibel reduction rating is very, very good. I really like this low profile though. These were my go-to for running, for the gun range, for work. I literally used these for everything. And then Axil brought out an upgrade. The GS Extreme 2.0s, these ones were specifically the SIG version. Very similar in form and function. Same idea. Go behind your head, wrap around your ears, plug up your ear holes, tuck the tail into your shirt, and you're good to go. Some things to note was they made the lanyard shorter, and they also beefed up the battery life, making it last pretty much all day. I think that the media time on this was like 8 or 9 hours, and then the active listening went from like 10 hours on the previous model to like 20 hours. So they really bumped things up with this version, but this did have an Achilles heel, and it is that the cords have a tendency to work themselves a little too much, and there are some disconnections that can happen in here. That's what happened with this pair. I haven't worn this pair except to the range because they still work, even though they turn on. The left one works, the right one is disconnected. I don't like that. I don't like being able to only hear in one ear, so I only use them as just earplugs basically at this point, and they work really well as that, and they're very low profile, so that's super nice. I've actually considered just chopping them here and here, getting rid of the cords and just rocking them over ear style, but that made me sad. That was about a year ago that the last pair of those that I had went belly up with the ability to hear. So from that point forward, I was thinking to myself, when are they going to come out with true earbuds like some other companies have, but with the quality of the Axil brand? So reached out to my affiliate rep, asked him some questions about it, and he said that they were working on developing something like that, which got me very excited. I have a buddy from elementary school who works at Axil, so sometimes I get in his ear as well to get some behind the scenes. And about a month and a half ago, I reached out to him and he was like, yeah man, they're almost done. About 6 months ago, he told me that they were working on them, and he sent me a picture of these, but they were a little bit chunkier and I was worried that they were going to be too big. I think you're going to be impressed with the size profile on these guys. So let's start with some of the specs that I'm going to just read off of the back of the box here. 100% digital hear control. So that's the active listening, and it shows the sign that it shows is a head with like rings of Saturn around it, showing that there's good surround sound. 100% digital hearing protection. So anything over 85 decibels, it's going to bring down to safer levels for you digitally, so that you can still hear the sounds but hear them safely. Or you could just turn the sound off, turn the active listening off, and just be shielded from the seal that the earbuds give you themselves. Bluetooth 5.2 connectivity. I'm assuming that that is the most up-to-date Bluetooth that's out there, is 5.2. I don't really keep up with that, so I don't know, but I'm sure it's very high quality, and it's probably an upgrade from the previous Bluetooth models. Connectivity for me has been solid so far. And then, as always, customizable ear tips. So different size ear tips, and then you're gonna have the protection foam, or you're gonna have the silicone, so that you can use it for either the gun range or just for comfortable listening. I honestly usually only use the protection foam. That way I'm not switching ear tips back and forth all the time. Last thing to note on here is the charging case is going to give you 3 total charges on the headphone. So as it sits here, I will get 3 full uses out of it, and I believe it is rated for 6 hours media, 9 hours active listening. Those are separate from each other. If you use them both at the same time, it gives you like 4 or 5 hours, somewhere in there. So that's gonna be the one place where I feel like it's lacking. I think it could do better in the battery life area, and I'm sure that that'll be a future upgrade to the XCORs eventually, just like we saw with the GS Extremes, where we went from good battery life to way better. I think this first version of the XCOR is going to be much improved on in the future. But again, I love these for how they are. So now let's crack these open and show you what the profile is like. So you're greeted with a glowing symbol if everything is all charged up like mine are. We have a magnetic lid here that snaps open nice. It doesn't hold itself open, which kind of stinks, but that's not the biggest deal. And as soon as you open it, you get these guys. Usually they'll flash green and they will pair. Now we're gonna pop one of these guys out. I'll do some B-roll shots up close of these so you can see them in a little bit more detail, but obviously this is the right ear and then there's the left ear, and you actually want to orient them up like this and then push them back to kind of rotate them into your ear canal. And then this is how they end up sitting in your ears. And I find that they don't have any issues like coming loose or anything. When my head is moving, they don't need like the over ear hooks that people are often looking for when it comes to active wear earbuds. So put them into my ears and we'll do the old shake test. They didn't budge. So I'm not worried about them. I have worn them lifting weights, I've worn them running, and I've worn them a little bit out on the range as well, which is where you'll get some of the B-roll footage of me using them. But notice the low profile. I love it. They do not extend past the silhouette of my ears, which is what I want. The major test that they passed is the cheek weld test. So I bring my gun up, shoulder, onto my cheek, and we have no interference between my shouldering device and the earbud itself, which is always great. Let's talk about the functionality and how you actually work them. So they really only have one button on them, and it's this rectangular button up here at the top. Everything else is actuated with the touch interface on the Axil logo right here. So we'll go through that a little bit, but if I plug this guy in, I already have the active listening on. In order to turn it on and off, what you do is you hold down on that rectangular button and you press the touch controls at the same time for 2 seconds, and she says sound off. If I want to be able to hear again, just reverse process, sound on, and now I can hear. We have 3 categories of hearing: 1, 3x, and 6x. Okay, so if I press once on the rectangle, then they both bump up once. If I press again on the rectangle, they bump up the last time to the 6x. If I press them again, they'll take me back down to 1x. When it comes to using them to cycle through music or to pause and start or to answer calls, it's all touch. So if you're getting a call, you tap, that'll answer the call. I don't know about ending the call, haven't had to do that yet. But if I tap once on the right, it'll up volume, tap once on the left, it'll down volume. So you can control volume with the touch of a finger, and then double tapping either of them to start and double tapping either of them to stop will do your play pause, and then triple tapping right will skip us forward, and triple tapping left will bring us backwards in our media consumption. So very easy, very simple, very similar to my Anker SoundCore earbuds, where it's almost the exact same button pressing scheme minus the active listening. Those don't have that, obviously, but these are amazing. And again, other than the battery life, they have just about everything that I want. They have the nice, crisp little carrying case that charges them up. They are not bad looking. They're not massive and clunky, and they're not like sticking out of my ears. So I find them to be very, very good. If you were behind me, you guys can tell me better than I can. Can you see them? Probably not. So if you can't tell from behind that I'm wearing them, that's a good sign that they're relatively low profile. Again, biggest thing I'd like to see in the future is, you know, if we can keep getting the size down and keep getting the battery life up, those would be probably the biggest benefits. And then obviously getting better sound quality always. They're always iterating on sound quality. I can tell you that the sound quality on the 2.0s, the GS Extremes, is better than the 1.0s, and the sound quality on the Axil Buds, the XCOR, is better than the 2.0s, so they are getting better. They are generally focused on innovating in the sound space specifically, and they found a really good niche here with the gun industry. Really cool and innovative products coming out of Axil. Guys, I appreciate your view, and as always, I will catch you later.